Welcome, welcome to the Art and Science of Marketing Communications with me, Lauren Perna Communications. And guys, I am recovering from a cold. So lucky today we have a great guest that is going to take it and run with it. So you don't have to hear me coughing the whole time. Amber Krasinski, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are, what you do before I talk again and cough into everyone's computer screen.
No worries. Yeah. So, hi, my name is Amber Krasinski. I use she, her pronouns. And basically, I help different businesses and organizations really figure out what is your message? How can you get it out there most effectively? How can you do it creatively? And most importantly, how can you really engage your own team in that process? So that's a big part of what I work on. I have a media literacy and education background, so definitely have that teacher mindset. I think like a camera because I have been a videographer, oh gosh, years now. I went to school for film studies too. And
Wow.
yeah, so that informs a lot of my work. I really think, what are the different ways that we can communicate through different mediums? And I think that really has lended itself helpful for my work in marketing and PR and all that sort of stuff. So I cut my teeth in nonprofit marketing back in the day, and I'm still really big on ways to activate local communities just through all that work. Taught bunches of people how to make their own videos, how to think about, okay, I want to do a newsletter for my local, neighborhood group. How do I do that? All those things under one roof. And I've just built on that over the years. Went to grad school and started IvyHill Strategies. So that's basically what we do at IvyHill is just collaborate with other creatives and marketers and PR agencies and just really help to guide them and their clients a bit. How can we really activate this? And how can we take something like a video that you've really wanted for years and spread it out even further and keep you accountable in doing it? So, there's different ways to tackle this, and I'm really excited to chat about the family of communications today. Oh, I can't hear you, Lauren.
All right.
There you are.
Yeah. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Shoot. Okay, hold on.
This is what we call rolling with it and crisis,
Probably was in bed all week and probably didn't charge them.
No, absolutely fine. I mean, you're here.
No, hold on. All right, I think we're good.
Awesome.
All right. This is what happens when it's live, guys. You never know. Anyways, so one question I think, I wanted to dive into is really the fact that you guys do kind of the whole spectrum. At LPC, we focus really on like content and copywriting, like the marketing, writing. The reason I wanted you to kick us off is because IvyHill does that whole spectrum of PR, marketing, content, video, which is interesting because I think a lot of people either kind of lean into one area or another, or you have really large agencies that do the whole spectrum. But as a small agency, tell us a little bit about how you cover that whole spectrum and, a little bit of how you might help a client with all aspects of PR and marketing. And feel free to dive into your analogy that PR and marketing are sisters, not twins.
Exactly. Awesome. So yeah, when it comes to my approach for IvyHill, and again, bit of an iterative process, as all business owners know, but what I envisioned with it was, back when I was just doing videography, freelance, that was my bread and butter. It always dawned on me like, oh, I'm making these videos, and sometimes the businesses I'm working with or the organizations, they don't know how to really get it out there the way they want to. And I know how to kind of inform them, but I feel like I'm overstepping. My job is to just do this video. And as I started kind of growing in my career, I really started thinking about, well, I have this network of people and creatives that are doing similar things, photographers, graphic designers, all these things. You work hard at the creative, and then as a marketer, you can come up with these strategies. But when I was in grad school, I will never forget it. One of my folks in my cohort, we had to learn how to do Canva, and I'd been using Canva for years at that point. It was no problem. She literally FaceTimed me crying because she was just so overwhelmed. It wasn't her superpower, and it wasn't like where she could activate her flow state. So wouldn't it be nice if there was a way where we could really facilitate the entire communications process with a client and have that extra support that's really agile? So what that looks like in my world is we'll meet with somebody, we'll do an assessment. Okay, where are you at? And then who do we need to partner with to really start kicking things off, right? Yeah. So not everybody is going to need PR off the bat. There's people that need to get their website in order. They need to really think about those things first. And we'll help guide that process, and we'll work with other agencies in particular. It's one of my favorite things to do. We've had really great results from it because we're able to move people down this timeline, and it also helps with, the overall customer journey and keeping people for a while, because in PR, it takes time to build visibility. Yeah. And this is where we can kind of talk about siblings. So all in the same family of communications, right? And there's all these different areas and aspects of it. But what we really focus on is, okay, what are the differences between this public relations side of it, this brand visibility side, and marketing? And at the end of the day, it's about, one side is more about who is talking about you when you're not in the room. How do you really get into rooms that are going to build your reputation and partner with the right people? How can you just really build out that name recognition for your brand? Or if you've gotten yourself in a pickle and you need to kind of correct course a little bit, maybe you've gotten like a slew of, bad Google reviews, or you had somebody in the local Facebook group that was really being nasty to you, anything like that, you got to course correct. And that is not going to be solved by a marketing campaign in a nice way, Yeah. So it's really shaping the perception and the personality behind the brand, and really thinking about it that way. So you're getting the word out, through this marketing side. You're getting people talking about you and giving you feedback about what they think, and you can adjust accordingly. But then at the end of the day, one of your goals is to generate income, bring in sales, do all these things, So that's where, paid media, it's definitely popping off quite a bit more with all of these outlets consolidating in different ways and trying to figure out alternative revenue streams. So we are seeing an uptick in the pay for play market. And you think about social media marketing, for instance, it feels like, all right, I got to feed the beast a little bit just to get that boost, Sometimes that can be effective. Sometimes it's not necessary, and you might as well just, kind of throw your money out the window. But it all depends on the stage of your business and what your ultimate goal is. So if you have a short-term goal of, I need to sell like 200 sweaters by Thursday, otherwise I'm going to have a bad time. Okay, that's a marketing thing. I need to figure out how to rebuild my reputation after a bunch of orders got backed up because of the supply chain issues and people are frustrated with me. That's a reputational thing. So they're all related, and they definitely talk with each other, right? Because PR is going to inform your marketing campaigns. And we see this all the time. I mean, Super Bowl, or actually a really great example, is Duolingo. So Duolingo is shifting their reputation, and, word on the street, they're going to do a rebrand. So they have this whole very over the top. It definitely is like Gen Z style, like that absurdist humor that everybody looks at and they're like, what? And, I kind of look at it, I'm like, oh, that's like Dadaism, but like elevated, I guess, like art history brain kicks in. So at any rate, we look at the Duolingo situation. They're using social media to do this whole
tell everybody what happened.
So basically what happened with Duolingo is that they're doing a rebrand, and they have their owl, right? Very iconic owl, popular on social media. They've really built out the brand around this character. So they dropped this video on, I think it was TikTok first. They dropped this video, and basically it's all about like RIP Duolingo owl. And they have this dramatic, over the top series of videos where like people are super upset. There's like the black and white dramatic music in the background. it actually at one point gets hit by a cyber truck and explodes. Like it just really
I just heard.
over the top, like very, very over dramatic. But you have all these different brands that start chiming in and joining the conversation. But all of it is just like an inside joke that's completely out there, but everybody's able to join in on it and know what's going on. Things like that, where you're shifting your messaging and your reputation and all of that, that's where we're seeing social media. Yeah, marketing, it's the name of it, but also you're building a new reputation and you're taking those creative assets that kind of sit in the middle part between your marketing and your PR. So maybe that's like the middle child, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like branding, so all of it really ties together. And that's like the biggest point that I want people to walk away with is, there's certain marketing channels that you might not need to lean into given what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish and who you're trying to reach, right? And then also on the PR side, there are folks who aren't ready for certain levels of PR. There's folks that I chat with all the time where they need a little extra media training, but my goodness, they're great writers. So why don't we pitch them for some written interviews? Like there's ways that you can start building your reputation. And especially, with the changing media landscape, this is what I encourage PR and marketing agencies to do, is really to think about how can you adapt to the fact that the way things have been done is shifting so much. And there's such a great area between PR and marketing because they inform each other so much. So that's definitely, end of the day, what I hope people walk away with is just really exploring those things.
I love that. And I think that is why I wanted to talk about this, is because the gray area is just becoming so much more elevated. As I think what you said is perfect, is that, kind of branding sits there in the middle. And as people are building more personal brands, this is becoming much, much more of a thing. One thing that we talked about, ahead of this, was making those bold moves to really move the needle. Nothing is as bold as killing off your mascot. So I think that is one example. Yeah, I definitely agree that it is a little absurdist, and definitely that Gen Z humor. I feel like as millennials, I was kind of like, oh man, that little guy died, like,
Yeah.
So what are some other types of bold moves that you've helped your clients activate that maybe don't involve killing off their mascot?
Yeah. So, it varies from client to client based on their goals. So I think one of the ones that come to mind immediately are, let's see. Yeah, this one's a good one. So I'm going to drop her name, Christina Pasucci Ciampa. I didn't say that right, but whatever. I haven't had enough coffee yet. At any rate, so Christina, she is the owner of All She Wrote Books, and it's an independent. Oh, Lauren, I think you froze.
Well,
there you go.
There we go.
I'll start over. It's fine. Live broadcast. We love it.
I know.
I worked in TV though, so this is like nothing to me.
I know, it's funny. The last two I did by myself, so I kind of had no issues, of course. And now the first one of the year we have somebody, it's all in a kerfluffle, but that's all right.
It's fine.
Everyone's enjoying it. So yeah, hit us with your example.
Yeah. So basically, Christina has this very personable, style of, here's how I sell a book to you. You can literally tell her any book that you like, and she will find a book that is in her store or one that she knows that she can order that you would have a similar vibe with.
That's
it's
awesome.
Incredible. So, me being me and being the curious person I am, I said, okay, bet. So I'm going to start asking you for random book selections, and I'm really going to push you and see if I can stump you. And she started getting more comfortable doing that. And she was already media trained and everything. We'd done lots of different interviews, but one of the things that we wanted to work on was activating her audience more and bringing that experience of being in the store to somebody, because we're looking to activate the e-commerce side and wholesaling and things like that. So, really building up the reputation and building up that engagement, which engagement is more important than likes, I will say that. So
yeah, totally.
We started the Hey Christina series, and that's basically, I'll go in, and film a bunch of different reels, and we'll have that planned out in advance. And she didn't want to do it at first. She's like, Amber, why are you going to film me? Come on. I'm like, no, we're going to do one of them. Let's just see how it goes. It went viral. So, super happy about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really good. So, we were able to do that, and she has since seen regular increases and upticks, especially, her events that she does, because she's very active in the community. So she's seen an uptick in sales. She's seen, depending on certain books, yeah, that one just sold out. So we're able to track it and track the metrics. And then when it comes to the PR side of it, we've been able to use videos like that for certain pitches. And we've been able to get the attention of a reporter. This is where really thinking outside the box and thinking about what would somebody who has no time in their day and some of the most stressful deadlines, what do they need? How can you serve them, and how can you make it more effective? And I'm not saying, go about it like, please, please, please love me. But, how can you be kind and be to the point and say, hey, here's something interesting. I know you have, space to fill. Let's figure out how to do this together. So with Christina, I mean, that's just been an ongoing part of content, and it's actually helped build her thought leadership too, because she's able to speak to marketing to her own industry, and she's getting compliments left and right. We've had a couple different copycats too, which is
of course,
which is great. It's very flattering, but it's so simple but so effective, because she's looking straight to camera, just telling you like, hey, Christina, I'm looking for, this was a good one that I loved. Hey, Christina, I'm looking for a book because my kid loves mushrooms and being outside and being muddy, but I'm trying to get him to read more. What do you got? And she just immediately, she's like, yep, mushroom picture book. It's all about exploration, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, 2 seconds. Yeah. So just like building on what she's passionate about and what the customer experience is, and how we can really be tailored about the content we're putting out, because we couple that with, a lot of the time she'll have a book club. And this was something that we really started building in is, you have a book club. Why don't we promote the book through a Hey Christina? Why don't we have somebody in the community talk about it too? There's different ways that you can promote and build that awareness and also drive sales at the same time. So pushing somebody lovingly to do video is not the worst thing. So if video is not a thing, it's okay, because having a piece of glass and plastic sitting in front of your face and having to talk at it is the most strange feeling.
Yeah. And I think it's maybe even something as simple as what we're doing today is this, I like to think of us as like a low stakes podcast, like come in, talk about your area of expertise, and we're going to repurpose it. And I think it gives people a lot of that confidence. It's, it is strange, but at the end of the day, it's, you're just talking about what you're good at. And that's, that should be fairly easy for most people. So tell us, what type of press did she get by showing them one of the Hey Christina videos?
So we were able to use it to secure Publishers Weekly, which was a very, very exciting, because I had pitched them, and this is what I mean. It's a long game. There are 10 publicists for every reporter now. Last year, or a couple of years ago, it was like 6, 5, something like that. So it's gotten even more consolidated and more competitive. So I always let people know it's the Hunger Games out there. We got to adapt. We got to figure out different things. If, we got to pivot quickly. So with her, we were able to get through after, I'd sent an initial pitch, and it was about the impacts of the TikTok ban on book talk and how that would trickle down to bookstores, because bookstores are now very informed with their marketing and their sales and everything they're doing. They're using book talk and the reputation building around these books to really inform their sales. So it's that ecosystem, right?
That's so cool.
So we did a pitch around that, and a bunch of other things started coming up. So, we just kept at it and just kept talking and engaging and sending over Hey Christinas and things like that. And then like 6 months later, boom, hey, can you meet tomorrow? Like, I have this deadline for Sunday, but can you meet tomorrow and just talk with me for a half hour? It ended up being an hour conversation. It was lovely. But we were able to build on that and show that, hey, she's not just speaking from this exterior point of view with book talk. She's actively engaging regularly and has her finger on the pulse with it. So that elevated her quite a bit. And we've done that in different ways, different community events, different things like that. And that's also helped make some really successful press wins, WCVB and things along those lines. Yeah. So that's one example. Another one I'll give you quick is, so food brand looking to, drive sales, do some interesting things, incredible garlic salt. So Hippie Pilgrim garlic salt. If you haven't tried it, it's amazing. So Susie, the owner, she has a background in food TV. So she really knows the PR game, knows all those different things, media trained, all of that. She wants to really build up her brand and more of its reputation and try something really unique. So what we did was we partnered up with Main Page Media. We helped Susie with some of the messaging around this free kitchen helpline, kind of like the Butterball helpline, but year round. And you can ask her anything.
Oh,
And she'll
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. And she'll start a phone tree if she has to figure out an answer. So like I called her in about bone broth when I was sick one time, and she brought in, a bone broth person to talk with me about the benefits,
Oh,
like
God, that's so
all
cool.
about those connections. So we were able to work with Paige from Main Page Media, who had been producing a video on this. And through that video, that went viral, and we were able to land the Boston Globe for her. We got her into food and wine. Like there's different things, but most importantly, yeah, those names are pretty and cool. Love the reporters. Awesome. But also there's something to be said for the very active comment section she was able to get. It helps with all the different reviews that she already has for her brand. Now she's got people on social saying, oh my gosh, like I've wanted to call my mom for the past 10 years to ask her about this recipe. And this makes me feel like I'm talking to my mom. Like that is so impactful, right? So, and it's led to other opportunities as well. So all of that to say, there's different ways, even if you're not doing a big launch, there's different ways that you can really activate and start building that expertise and letting people know that, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I want to share it with you. And I own a business. I want to make some sales too. So if you know anybody, yeah. So it's all those partnerships.
And then I think that leads to our last bullet point that we wanted to cover, which you're obviously covering, is that, yes, content is queen, but engagement is obviously king. And like you said before, likes don't necessarily indicate anything other than people are seeing your content. It doesn't necessarily mean people are engaging with it. And that's where the comments and the shares and the messages all come in. I certainly know what you mean, but tell the audience a little bit about why engagement is so important on both a PR and a content perspective. You already did,
but I'll go into it a little bit. Yeah. So think about it this way. It's taking. So there's actually one of our clients, Bobby Dutton, he talks about this, the levels of engagement that you have, and he does live events. So it'll translate a little bit, but if somebody is, at an event and they're on their phones the whole time, they're bored. Same equivalent is, you're just swiping, you're looking through, you're being casual as a viewer on social, right? Something that's more active is if they're on their phone and they're like tweeting about it or like doing a story or all of that, you're about 50%. They still have that barrier of, oh, I need to share this, I need to talk to somebody, but they're a little more engaged. That's where the equivalent would be a like, right? It's slightly passive. You're still showing, oh, I like this, I appreciate it. Maybe it's like a quick save, something like that.
Yeah.
Something that's a little more active is where you get 100% engagement. They're immersed. Like they see your content and they're like, oh my God, that's me. I gotta drop that. That made me laugh. Holy smokes. I need to comment on that. Oh my God, that was so smart. Why don't I hit like, share it to my stories and just show people, oh my God, this is such a good resource here. Whoa, that's very
besties, right?
Yeah, it's intentional action, and you can track it same as you would with an ad. You can track those metrics of what's the open rate for this email? What is the click-through rate? What's my cost per click? All those things tie in, but it's building that reputation and having very clear content that can share a story. And frankly, this is where a lot of people really, unfortunately, have a hard time with PR. You want to play it safe. You want to protect your brand, but that is not interesting when it comes to, they want to hear interesting takes that they haven't heard yet, approaches that they're like, huh, heard about that a little bit, but didn't realize there was somebody that could just talk with me about it. Great. This is something I can either save, for something that's more timely given the news cycle, or I'm going to run with this right now.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a hot take. We see that on LinkedIn, increasingly
Oh,
lately.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and social media in general. So, think about it from what is going to carry through, yes, your ethos and what you're about, but also how can you push back on things that have been holding you back or holding back your industry, or things that you would love to see changed, or, things that you're doing to help the community. All those things can really tie in together and help support the marketing efforts that you're trying to track and do. So.
Yeah, and it's I had something to say, now it escaped my brain, but yeah, I think it's such a good point. What I was going to say, it sounds almost like engagement equals reputation, almost, is kind of how I'm seeing it. Is, the more you engage, the more you are getting people to interact, the more people are commenting. That's the reputation that you're building.
Yes. Absolutely. And, the algorithm rewards it. It likes seeing people's faces, it likes seeing animals, and it really likes seeing that your comment section is blowing up, because that means that that's a really interesting piece of content. So, even if you don't have 10,000 followers, if you're getting like a 16 to 20-second watch time on a video and there's 100 people that are watching that, if you've gotten your message across in those, couple of seconds, that's almost an elevator pitch. And you just did that for a group of people. If you're very targeted about what you're sharing, you can start moving the needle. But yeah, it's all about just where is your audience hanging out? How can you get them to talk about you? How can you share things with them? And how can you activate your own network to bridge that gap? So that's what we're most interested in, especially at IvyHill.
I love that. That was a great way to end. We are just about at time, and I feel like you did so good, and I didn't cough at anyone's computer screen too much. So I'm glad that this worked out. Thank you so much. Anyways, Amber, thank you so much for coming. Seriously, this was awesome. You are a champion, and I am so lucky to know you through the communications world and also the chronic boss world. So definitely we'll make sure to drop all of your links and whatnot when we post this. But everybody, next week we are going to continue the conversation about that interface of PR and marketing with a case study. Next Friday is actually Rare Disease Day. So we have another PR person coming on that is the director of media relations for a small rare disease organization. So she's going to talk about that. So I think that'll actually be really cool. I love Rare Disease Day. I think it's really special in my industry. So that'll be a cool way to take everything that you've said and really kind of put it into a very unique lens. So